Hi, so I was actually reading the book of Genesis. Yeah, Genesis chapter 30. And what opened my eyes is that when you look at Leah's and Rachel's relationship, especially with Jacob, right? God saw that Leah was hated upon, right? She was unloved by Jacob. So what God did is he opened up Leah's womb. So she had her first four children. So when she had her first four children, that's when she kind of took a break, and then Rachel, got a little upset because she didn't have no children. So she brought her handmaiden to have children by Jacob. So then now it became a little competition with Rachel and Leah. Of course, Rachel's handmaiden and Leah's handmaiden, and then Leah. So it's like they're taking turns, literally. For the children, they're taking turns trying to win Jacob's love, but we already knew that he loved Rachel. So what was funny is that after this back and forth with Rachel's handmaiden, Leah and Leah's handmaiden, when it comes down to who can bear more kids by Jacob, obviously Leah won, because the more kids she wanted to have, the more she wanted to win Jacob's heart, right? So we saw at the end of all of that back and forth, Jacob is just sleeping with, he's just going on sleeping around, whatever, with the handmaidens and his wives. So with all that going back and forth, Rachel was the last one to have Joseph. So God showed me, like, after all that back and forth, I realized that Rachel did not have any kids but Joseph. God remembered Rachel through all them years. Imagine how many years it took to have like 8 kids and all that back and forth, 9 kids, 10 kids, 11 kids, all that back and forth. Imagine all those years Rachel had to sit there and put up with the fact that her handmaiden is having kids by her husband. Leah is having kids by Jacob, and Leah's handmaiden is having kids by Jacob. So these 3 women are having kids by Jacob except her. Imagine the disappointment, imagine the sadness, imagine not feeling unloved, even though she knew she was loved by Jacob, because I'm sure he did everything there was to make her feel that, she's loved. And I don't even think he cared about whether she had children or not. But it was just a competition thing. But what just opened my eyes is that imagine how many years Rachel had to sit there and put up with the fact that these other women were having children by Jacob but her. And as some of you can't even take 1 year of your patience for God to show through, for God to make it happen for you. You can't even wait 2 years for God to make it happen to you. You're already complaining, you're already murmuring, and you haven't even given God a chance to show you what he can do. Rachel sat there. She may have been a little upset, but she was like, you know what? Have kids with my handmaiden. So she gave Jacob her handmaiden, and she was having kids through her. But imagine sitting there and seeing that the handmaiden's having kids, seeing that her sister's having kids by Jacob, everyone but her. But what I realized is that through all this, at the last moment, Rachel bare Joseph. God remembered Rachel. He remembered her, okay? God remembered Rachel. He remembered Rachel, and he opened up her room. He remembered her. Okay, it's not that she was sitting back complaining, disputing, being ungrateful, but he remembered her. Okay, remind God. Okay, you can also always remind God about his promise to you, but don't sit there and complain and be impatient, and then that's when you're just upsetting him. But God remembered Rachel, and he opened up her womb, and boom, Joseph. And we all know the great and mighty Joseph, the favor that Joseph had from Jacob, and even the hatred that he had from his brothers, which ended up being favored at the end. It's like Jacob's story is so magnificent and so great that we don't really hear a lot about We don't really hear too much about his brothers. All the children that Leah conceived, we don't really hear too much about them, except that they wanted to kill Joseph because of their jealousy and because of his favor. But then when you look at Joseph's story and you continue reading on in Genesis, he became basically the second in command to the Pharaoh. So everybody knew Joseph. He saved the entire nation. He waited for God all them years in his jail cell. He waited for God all them years. He got tempted. He was wrongly accused. He was falsely accused. And even though he passed the test of temptation, he was still wrongfully accused. And he sat there in his jail cell. And then eventually he became second in command, right? So he was able to rule and manage this whole entire nation and save the entire nation through his gift. So this magnificent Joseph, who came out of Rachel, of course it was Benjamin, it was Joseph and then Benjamin. But Rachel, because of her patience, she was the last one to bear Joseph and then Benjamin. So because of her patience, look how God blessed her. Because of her patience, look how magnificent of a breakthrough he did for her. And some of you have to wait, okay? The longer you wait, you will see how God will blow your mind. Okay, don't think you're just waiting for no reason. Don't think you're just sitting back and he's not going to blow your mind, and he's not going to blow the ceiling off your house. He's not going to open your room to like this major profit. Don't think that he won't show out for you. The longer you wait, the more he will show out for you, the more he will break through for you. He will not disappoint you. So I'm just sitting here encouraging you guys while you're waiting on your promise, while you're waiting and strengthening, through worship and prayer. Wait on God. He will blow your mind. I pray you get the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding through this video, and I will see you guys on the next one.